What's going on, everybody? Matt here. So today is going to be my final review on Avatar: The Last Airbender. This is the book 3 review, and I'm so excited just to talk about this book. There's so much behind it, and it's just an amazing ending. But before I get into that, I just want to say, if you guys haven't seen my book 1 or book 2 review, I'd recommend checking that out before watching this video, just so you kind of know where I am with the series as a whole, what I like so far and what I haven't. And also, subscribe. There's going to be more videos like this in the future, so if you do enjoy this video, you'll like the videos coming in the future. I'm going to review Korra, and I got a few more Avatar videos, like a tier list coming, so if you guys want to see those, subscribe. It helps a lot, and it's free, so go ahead and do that. But let's jump into the book 3 review.
Water, earth, fire, air.
So Avatar: The Last Airbender, book number 3. What an amazing finale to an amazing show. I mean, this season just took everything together, put all the pieces together, and just formed an epic finale. And it worked on so many different levels. All of the episodes were great. Just seeing the characters come to their conclusions in the series was great. And just everything tying together is just what made this season and the series work as a whole. For me, the season was very emotional, and there were just so many great moments and shocking moments as well. And I think every episode was pretty well done in this season. I don't think there was an episode that didn't deserve a place in the book, because book 1 and 2, there were a few episodes I'm like, yeah, we can take that one away, that one doesn't need to be here, it's kind of unneeded. But in this book, I didn't feel like there was an episode unneeded. I feel like there are stronger episodes than others, but I feel like every episode was pretty solid. Going into this book, I really didn't know how it was going to begin, how it was going to pick up from book 2, because at the end of that book, we saw Team Avatar losing. They lost the battle against Azula and her team. And I was like, how are they going to pick up? But they picked up about 2 or 3 weeks after the events of book 2. And during this time, Aang was unconscious, and they hopped on a Fire Nation ship that was stolen by Katara and Sokka's father, so they're kind of like in disguise right now. But they have a plan. They have a plan to take down the Fire Nation during the Day of the Black Sun, a solar eclipse, because they feel like that's their striking point, that's their best bet at really attacking the Fire Nation, because they will be at their weakest. The only problem is, that's about a few weeks away, I want to say, so they have time to kill, and they have to kind of just relax, chill out, and not get caught. So what do? Team Avatar decides to disguise themselves as Fire Nation and live in the colonies, and it's a pretty good plan, I guess you could say. It's a pretty good low-key disguise. So the first 9 episodes in this book is Team Avatar living as Fire Nation, disguising themselves as Fire Nation and living within the Fire Nation people, civilians, and just that area. And it makes for some really good episodes. I mean, I think every episode was pretty solid. I mean, the headband one where Aang is going to school as a Fire Nation student was really cool, because you got to see how the Fire Nation kids were taught and just their ideas and ideals, and just seeing how Aang was like countering those ideals and saying like, maybe we could do this, maybe you guys could do this. You guys don't know about dancing? How do you guys not know about dancing? And it made for a really interesting episode. And I think you can see there that the Fire Nation aren't all bad. You know, there's actually good people. It's just the way that they're taught. The episode after that was the Painted Lady episode, another fantastic episode, because you got to see how the Fire Nation really just controlled people and how they made living conditions bad for people. And Team Avatar does a good deed by, destroying the factory that was polluting the water. So I enjoyed that episode. Sokka's Master was another fantastic episode. I loved an episode dedicated to Sokka. And Sokka's Master was pretty cool. I don't remember his name, but he knew Sokka wasn't Fire Nation, but he didn't let that bother him. He didn't make that a big deal, because he realized, he's a person like him. He's a human being, and things are greater than where you come from. It's your connection, your human connection. And he's a member of the White Lotus, as we see here in the future. The Beach Day episode was another one that I thought was really well written and just really great, because it explored characters that we didn't really explore much in the past in Mai and Ty Lee, but also learning about Azula and Zuko and their inner feelings. And this episode was just about how these characters feel about themselves. You have Ty Lee, just because she's like a twin, having to take on, gymnastics because she wanted to stand out. She didn't want to be the same. But then you have Zuko admitting that he's still conflicted, that he's not happy. He thought that returning home would bring him happiness and would break that confliction within him. Yet he's still conflicted and feels like he made the wrong decision. He's unhappy. And that has a lot to do with, one, this isn't his destiny. His destiny isn't being, this person in the Fire Nation. It's being something greater. And two, he betrayed Iroh. And I think that just still haunts him. And you could see it in the future where him and Iroh meet up again. And I'll talk about that later on. But I like that episode a lot. Learning how this war started and Roku's past was just fantastic to finally learn. It was something I always had on my mind. I was like, how exactly did this war start? And who was Roku as an avatar? And you learned that in the episode where we learned that Roku and a past Fire Lord were really good friends. And then because of the Fire Lord's way of thinking and what he wanted to do, their friendship was broken. But then you see it in the future all just come together, and then just seeing how the war started basically and how Roku died. It was a lot to take in, but it was really, really incredible to finally see, because that's just something I had on my mind since the first book. And I was just like, okay, finally we get to see it, and it was great. It just made sense. It all worked, and it was a great episode. An episode I thought was kind of weak, but it wasn't bad either. It was just maybe the weakest episode in this whole book, was the one where Toph is trying to make some quick cash. It was cool. It was fun, but it didn't hold like this great moment. It wasn't amazing. It was just okay. The Puppet Master episode was really interesting, and it went down a path I didn't think the show would go down in bloodbending. So this old lady knows bloodbending, and you can use it during a full moon, and Katara ends up using it herself. And it really questions, is it a power for good or is it a power for bad? Is it good that people can use this, or is it bad? And, at the end, the lady's cackling. She's like, look, you could bloodbend too. And it just questions, like, this lady used it for bad. Is it a bad thing to use? Is it a bad thing to have? But it can also be used for good, and we see that in the future. So it's just really this interesting idea of bloodbending. And it makes sense because blood is a liquid. But I don't know. It just raised that question. It was really interesting, and I thought it was a pretty good episode. So the episode before the Day of the Black Sun was one where Aang's like struggling to sleep. He's like, I don't know if I could fight Ozai. I don't know if I'd win. What if I lose? What if everything just fails? And he's just really struggling with that idea. It was pretty funny seeing like the different animation styles, because you have like a Dragon Ball animation. And I don't know, it was really cool, like the dream sequences. And it was a nice episode, lighthearted, I guess you could say, before the Day of the Black Sun, which was a lot. It was really a lot. And that's a huge episode. So during the Day of the Black Sun, you have everything start coming together. You have Sokka and Katara's father coming with all his resources and troops to the island, and they plan out their plan. Sokka's father brings like tanks, ships, and he brings some familiar faces from the previous books. We have the people living in the air nomad temples. They come to help because they bring inventions. You have the young earthbender and his father coming from early on in book 1. And then you have the swamp people, I think, from book 2. It's just a lot of familiar faces coming back to help out with this battle. And it was pretty cool to see these people return and realize that they play a bigger role in the story. But once they go over the plan, the attack starts. And it looks pretty good in the beginning, but then you realize they're being played like fools. The Fire Nation expected this. They knew that they couldn't fight back, so they played the defensive. They hid underground. And it just really threw everybody off. And it resulted in Team Avatar losing, because they get to the point where they're almost at the capital, and then they realize no one's around. No one's here. So they go underground. Azula's leading them all over, tricking them. And then Ozai's underground. And it ends with Team Avatar losing. The adults get captured, and Team Avatar must go hide away. And once again, like in Ba Sing Se, they lost again. And it shocked me, because I thought this episode was just going to be leading into the future episodes, where just every episode after this was about this battle. But no, they lost, and I didn't expect it. I did not expect that. But it was really good. It was a really good episode. And like I said, Team Avatar lost again, so they're the underdogs once again. They thought they had this great plan, and this was like the best day to strike. This was really the best time to strike them, because they would have been at their weakest, yet they were tricked. But two key things happened during this episode. One, Iroh escapes from jail. I didn't even mention he's in jail for most of the season up until this point. He escapes because he's buff now and it's just pretty cool. He's ripped. The second thing that happens is Zuko resents the Fire Nation. He goes against his father and he tells them basically, I don't want to be Fire Nation anymore. You know, this is wrong. And he goes and tries to join Team Avatar basically. But him and his dad have this confrontation. His dad basically was like, no, screw you. I don't care about you. And, you know, we get to see Ozai use his power, use his strength for his first time. And he's pretty strong, as, I mean, you can expect. And it's just like a, oh, wow moment. But Zuko was no longer Fire Nation. He took those steps he knew he needed to take. He realized this is not where I have to be. This is not my destiny. And he left. He betrayed the Fire Nation, basically. And he made the right decision. He really did. But yeah, this episode, like I already said, ends with Team Avatar losing, and they have to regain confidence and just recover from this loss and figure out a way they could stop the Fire Nation. So Team Avatar, after the loss, they go to an air temple to settle down, and they have to figure out a way they're going to strike back. And Zuko shows up, and it's kind of awkward. He's like, I want to join you guys, and they're like, no. They shut that down because they realize, you know, why should we take you in? You betrayed us. Or you betrayed Katara. Katara thought, you know, she got your trust and you basically shunned her. You betrayed her. And you've done so many bad things to this team. Why should we take you in? And they basically say, no, get out of here. We don't want you. But Toph realizes, you know, maybe he'll be an ally. Maybe he's actually changed. So she goes and she's like, hey, I want to talk to you. But he accidentally gets scared and fire blasts her or fire bends some flame against her. She gets burnt. And then, you know, he goes back and they are like, you just burned Toph. Why should we take you in? I'm just like, Zuko, you are not making a good case for yourself. What are you doing? And it's just, I feel so bad for the guy because it's like he gave up everything and they're not accepting him. But they end up accepting him and they form this alliance. And, you know, he's going to be that firebending teacher that Aang needs because Aang does not have a firebending teacher. So it works out. And he actually becomes a pretty good ally. He actually does help a lot, and you can see that in the future where he plays a big role in this whole battle against the Fire Nation. So during this time where they're settling down, everybody kind of has like this journey with Zuko. They have like their own like little adventure with Zuko, I guess you could say. Aang and Zuko go to like an old fire temple where they learn the origins of fire bending and just they see dragons and you realize Iroh's been there. And it's a pretty cool episode just about fire bending and kind of the origins or like the ancient history behind it, I guess you could say. It's a cool one. You have Sokka and Zuko going on their own journey where Sokka's trying to break his dad out of jail after being kidnapped by the Fire Nation after the Day of the Black Sun. So they go to this secluded jail and they end up finding Suki and Sokka's dad and they get him out of there. But during this whole event, Azula shows up. And it's this confrontation between Azula and Zuko, kind of. But then unexpectedly, Mei and Ty Lee go against Azula. They kind of just betray her in a way. And they help Sokka and Zuko escape. And, you know, this breaks Azula. She basically was like, screw you guys. And this really gives her trust issues. This whole moment where her friends betrayed her basically broke her. And you see that in the future episodes. But, I mean, Azula wasn't a good friend. I mean, she really was very mean to her friends and she striked fear into them. So, yeah, it made sense that they betrayed her in a way because she wasn't a great person. So, yeah, but that broke her. That really did, and that messed her up, and you see that in the future episodes. But that episode was pretty good. And then you have Zuko and Katara going on their own journey. Like I said, everybody has a Zuko journey or a Zuko adventure. Katara's still really uneasy about him being on the team. She still doesn't trust him after bossing Say. But, you know, they go out to find the person who killed Katara's mom. And she actually comes face to face with this man. And, you know, for a moment you think she's going to take the revenge. She's going to kill the guy. But then she realizes, why do that? Why lower myself to this guy's level? It's not worth it. And it's just really a great episode, to be honest with you. I really enjoyed that one because revenge could really mess someone up, and I'm glad that Katara didn't commit the action she was planning on because it just wasn't the way to do things. So it was a good episode. So the final episode before the big finale, was a lighthearted episode where the kids go see a play about themselves, and it's really just a way for the creators and writers just to poke fun at themselves, poke fun at the story. In this episode during the play, they're poking fun at Sokka for being the comedic relief, because that's how I saw him in the beginning. You have Toph being played by a huge buff guy, and it's great. She loves it. I think it's pretty funny. You have the whole Jet scene where in the play they're like, is he dead? Is he not dead? And that's still a question I have. Is he dead? Is he not dead? They'll never talk about it. We still don't know, and it's still a mystery. It's just a fun, lighthearted episode that really just eases us into the last episode and just gives us one last fun episode before this big finale. But Sozin's Comet, the final episode, was amazing. It was everything a finale should have. And it just had so many different moments throughout it that were just so great, so well done, and just a fantastic episode overall. You have Aang, kind of going on his own journey because he's struggling. He's like, how do I defeat Ozai without killing him? Because he doesn't want to kill him. Aang does not want to kill Ozai. He doesn't feel like that's the way to do it. That's not part of his beliefs. So he has to figure out, how do I do it without killing him? He talks to the previous avatars, and they don't really give him the answer he's looking for, but the lion turtle did, and he figures out a way to beat him without killing him. During this time where Aang's on his self journey, where he's trying to figure out how he's going to stop Ozai in this war, you have the rest of the gang trying to find Iroh, and when they finally find Iroh, it's this emotional reconnection between Zuko and Iroh, and God, it made me choke up a little bit because it's so well done. Where Zuko goes and he's like sitting there and he's talking to Iroh while Iroh has his back to him, and Zuko's like, I'm sorry, and he's like, I just want you to forgive me, and Iroh does, and he's like, why are you forgiving me so easily? I did so much bad to you, I betrayed you. And he's all like, I was never mad, I was just sad that you might have lost your way, that you kind of turned to this bad person. And it's just so well done, that moment, the dialogue, the setting, everything about it was just so well done, and it's just so emotional. I love that reconnection, one of the highlights of this episode for sure. And after that emotional moment, we realize that Iroh and the White Lotus organization have a plan. They're going to take back Ba Sing Se. You have Boomy, Iroh, the Waterbender from the first book, the Firebender from the first book, and Sokka Swordsman. They're all part of this organization that we've seen in the past, but they're all together now, and they're going to take back Ba Sing Se, and it's just awesome thing. These older guys just take out troops, just go crazy, and it's just really a cool moment. I like seeing the White Lotus organization just come together, because we've seen them in the past, we've seen them in their secret, organization, but now they're just full power, just going crazy, and it's just awesome. It's an awesome moment. But basically that leads us to our final moments where this battle starts to begin, basically between the Fire Nation and Team Avatar. So Ozai reveals his plan. His plan is to conquer the world, become the emperor of the world, the Phoenix King. And I'm like, the Phoenix King? Cool name? Not the coolest, but it's cool. He appoints Azula to become the new head of the Fire Nation, but at this point she's just broken crazy just because of the Boiling Rock episode. And, she's cutting her hair. You could just tell she's broken and just insane at this point. She's just banning people left and right because she has trust issues because of what happened. So yeah, she's just broken. She's just totally messed up. But her, Zuko, and Katara again to a battle. Her and Zuko have this Agni Kai because Zuko goes back. He's like, I'm going to reclaim my throne. I'm going to reclaim what's rightfully mine, I guess you could say. Or he's just going to take over to form a better Fire Nation in the future. So him and Azula have a Agni Kai, I believe it's called. And they had this duel, but during their duel, Azula cheap shots at Katara, who's not part of the duel, but then she gets involved, and basically Katara brings down Azula, bloodbending. And that's the end of Azula's story. It's a pretty good ending to her character. But yeah, at the end, she's just insane, and you can see that pretty easily. But that battle was cool. I will say that. The Agni Kai, the whole battle was pretty cool. During that duel, you have Sokka, Toph, and Suki trying to take down the many airships that the Fire Nation are on. So they infiltrated one, and they're trying to take down the rest. They do. There's a moment where you think Suki falls, and she's, oh, what happens to Suki? But no, she's fine, obviously, because of course she would be. So they take down all the airships. But then you have the big moment, the huge moment, Aang versus Ozai, and it's epic. I mean, it is really an epic final fight. And Ozai's not the greatest villain. He's very one-dimensional, but I mean, that's what the story needed. They didn't need this complex villain because it wasn't based around a villain. It was about the kids and Zuko and Iroh. It wasn't about Ozai. He was not the main character, and he was not, the key to this. The key was everything else. But it was still a really cool fight. And during this time when the Comet's around, you could see Ozai at his full power, and it's just insanely strong. He just starts burning a forest, and he's just wiping out land with his bending alone. And it's just insane how strong he is. And when him and Aang start to duel, there's a good portion of it where Aang's kind of getting his butt kicked and Ozai's really on the offensive because he's just so strong with the Comet's power. But then things change when Aang enters the Avatar state, because from there on, Ozai is basically on the defensive because Aang is just a whole different beast in that state. It's just this crazy moment where Aang's surrounded by every element and he's just going crazy. He's just going ballistic on Ozai. But then he gets to the point where he can kill Ozai and, he stops. He's like, I'm going to spare your life. But then Ozai, tries to strike back. He tries to basically kill Aang, and then Aang traps him. And then Aang takes away his bending. He takes away Ozai's bending, which I was like, yes, that's how it's done. That's how it's done. And it's this beautiful scene with half blue and half orange. And you think that Aang might be corrupted by the orange side and we might lose Aang. But then he prevails and the whole thing turns blue and he takes Ozai's power. And it just created for one an amazing moment where it's like, he did what he wanted to do. He won the way he wanted to win. He didn't have to kill Ozai, rather he found a way to defeat him without killing him, while also just having this amazing cinematic moment with the colors and just everything coming together on screen, just looking gorgeous. And it was an amazing final moment right there. That whole final battle was just beautiful towards the end. And they won. They won the 100-Year War. They stopped the Fire Nation, and now it's time to rebuild. So at the end, we see Zuko take the throne and just see his character come full circle. He says, I'm not going to be the Fire Lord that my father and past firebenders once were. I'm going to be a different Fire Lord where I accept everybody. I see everybody for who they are, not just Fire Nation. And with the help of Aang, he's going to rebuild this world, rebuild the Fire Nation, where everybody can just live in peace. They just want peace. And just seeing his character come full circle, like I said, was amazing, because he started out as this angry kid who just wanted to be a part of the Fire Nation, be accepted, and just capture the Avatar, to a different Fire Lord who is accepting of all, no longer this angry man. He's compassionate, and he wants the help of Aang, the Avatar, to rebuild this world and build a better world. And it's an amazing redemption story. It really is. And, Aang at the end is going to help him out. And I just love that pair. I love that duo. And I think they're just going to build an amazing world. And just the way that they're able to accept each other and the way Zuko has changed was just very emotional and very well done. And the final moments with these characters on screen are them together at Iroh's tea shop, just reminiscing over the old days and celebrating the memories that they share. And it's just really a heartwarming moment where it's like, this is our last time seeing these characters. A part of me, as a fan, this is a nitpick, as a fan, wanted to see maybe 5 or 10 more minutes, but as is perfect. As a fan, like I said, I could have used a little bit longer, but no, as is was amazing, perfect, it worked. But the real final moment is between Aang and Katara, and they finally, basically confess their love for each other. They kiss, and, Aang gets the girl, and it's just a very happy ending, a very great ending. And it just worked on so many different levels, and I love this story. I love this ending, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I just can't believe it's over, and I can't believe that was in the span of 365 days story-wise. I mean, it felt so much longer, yet it was only about a year, and it was just crazy. I was very emotional at the end. I had water coming out of my eyes. There must be like a water bender around somewhere. It was just very emotional and just super well done. It's just, the creators just did an amazing job with the series, and definitely one I'm going to watch again. I got the Blu-ray set already, and it's going to be something I watch again. It's really been one of my favorite series I've seen in a long time, and I could say it's one of my favorite series of all time. The way they handled all these characters in the story were just very well done. Very well done. And seeing Zuko's journey come full circle, and Aang's, and all the characters just come full circle from where they started was amazing. It was just so much fun, so great. If I had to give this book a rating, I would say it's just about up there with book 2, maybe a little bit better. I'd give it around a 9.2, which is an amazing rating. I mean, it's an amazing show, what can I say? But yeah, that concludes Avatar: The Last Airbender. I reviewed all 3 books and that's it. I mean, I just can't believe it's over. It was one roller coaster, one journey that I loved, and it was just so fun watching this show. And like I said, definitely gonna watch it again in the future. But you know, the Avatar journey doesn't stop here. I still have Korra to watch, and I'm gonna read some of the books. I think the Kyoshi books. So I still got a little ways to go. So if you guys do want to see a Korra review, that will be coming soon. I'm planning on watching all 4 books and reviewing each book for Korra. So those videos will be coming soon, so subscribe down below for those. And also like for more Avatar content because I have a tier list coming, another video that I don't want to spoil, and something else. You'll see in the future. I got Avatar videos coming, Korra videos coming, and I'm excited. I'm excited to watch Korra to see where this journey takes place. I think it's about 100 years? Is it 100 years after this story? So it'll be cool to see where the world is at that point. But it's been such a fun journey. If you guys watched all 3 reviews, join me on all 3. Thank you, it means the world to me. And yeah, we're gonna keep going from here. So if you guys did enjoy, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.